Welcome to the third Colonel Marvel's Miniatures Review podcast. You know the drill by now, so let's get straight on with the top 10. Okay, kicking off this week's show at number 10, it's Pulp Figures. Veteran sculptor Bob Murch is selling two different packs of 5 minis each of these Zeppelin troops in gas masks. Each pack will retail for $13.50. At number 9, it's New Bold World. These are a gang of goblinoids from New Bold World. They're certainly very different from most manufacturers' take on goblins, and an acquired taste, I think. At number 8 we have Thunderbolt Mountain. Veteran sculptor Tom Meyer has done an amazing job with his Wood Elf range. They don't particularly fit in with the Games Workshop style of Wood Elves, but they have their own charm, and the detailing is amazing. Here's a close-up of one of the Wood Elf faces just to show you what I mean. At number 7 we have Ollie's Armies. This is a mountain troll. It's going to retail for $11.99 UK sterling. The height is 70mm and it's going to weigh 180 grams. It's a quality figure as always from Bob Ollie, and Bob actually mentioned on one of the forums recently that because it's a two-piece kit, the sword arm is separate, that he may actually do a club arm in future so that you could replace the sword with a club, which would be nice. At number 6, a surprise new entry for Dixon Miniatures. Dixon Miniatures have been around for donkey's years and they've always stuck to dull and worthy historical figures, but they seem to have branched out recently and some of their new greens on the workbench look rather good. This new cowboy green looks excellent. Reminds me rather of the Saint of Killers from the Preacher spin-off that you may recall if you're a comic fan. And the samurai is excellent too. But my favourite has to be this Down and Out from their Prohibition Gangster set. I haven't shown you all the figures in that set. It's £5 for 5 pieces, but this Down and Out holding his bottle next to the garbage cans, well, we've all been there, haven't we? And I really like this. Artisan Designs are at number 5. This is a pirate captain by Artisan Designs. He's got plenty of swash and buckle about him, I think you'll agree. These two are the pick of the other pirate miniatures that I've seen so far from Artisan. There's no word on pricing yet. And just to remind you that this is a joint project between Artisan Designs and Crusader Miniatures. They're both doing a pirate line at the moment. At 4 it's Obelisk Miniatures. Well, what have we here? It's a rat man riding a giant rat. You can't go wrong with this as a concept, I think. Only Rackham, as far as I'm aware, are the only other miniature manufacturer that have done something similar to this. Obelisk Miniatures have put out 4 of these figures so far. This one is the Commander. And this one is a sniper on Giant Rat. All of these are retailing for the same price, $8.50 US. These are all sculpted by Joseph Ockman, who I believe used to sculpt briefly at least for Foundry Miniatures back in the day. And I just want to say good luck to him in his new venture because these show a lot of promise. Into the top 3 now, and at number 3 it's Foundry. This particular range of figures is taken from the 2000 AD comic. I'm a big 2000 AD fan, which is probably why these figures show up so high in my top 10 this week. These particular figures are taken from the Rogue Trooper story. Next up it's Nemesis the Warlock and Rojaws, both characters from the classic ABC Warriors series. We also have another ABC warrior, Deadlock, and the warrior's archenemy, Torquemada. They're nice figures, these 2000 AD figures, but I have to say at £5 each, it's a hell of a lot to pay for a single miniature. Dark Age games are at number 2. First up is a young lady by the name of Sabre, presumably because she's wielding 2 sabres behind her back there. Here's a bit more of a close-up of this very nice figure for you, and she's retailing for $5.99 US. The other new Dark Age miniature this week is XS for the Forsaken faction from the game. Again, she's $5.99 US, sculpted by Kev White from Hassle Free Miniatures. Here's a bit more of a close-up of XS, a really fine miniature from Kev as always. I'm not entirely convinced by the sword arm pose. I just don't like it, and I mentioned this last week, when miniatures hold swords sort of backwards, as it were. Just, I don't know, it just doesn't convince me in some way. But again, that's just a personal preference. Overall, great sculpt. My favourite new miniatures this week are manufactured by Black Scorpion. There seems to have been a rash of really good Old West miniatures recently, and this new green from Black Scorpion, he's called Hillbilly Bob, is definitely no exception. A really nice character piece. There's also a banjo player, and someone suggested that it'd be nice to have a sitting down in a rocking chair banjo player as part of the range too, and I think I'd agree with that. But my favourite sculpt of the week has to be this drunk. Lots of character in this one, and as someone on one of the forums mentioned, he does look a little bit like Lee Marvin's character, Kid Shalene, in the movie Cat Ballou. Oh, and I also just wanted to mention congratulations to Crocodile Games, who won the Origins Award for Best Miniature Line of 2005 this week. Okay, that just about wraps up this week's show. Thanks for your comments and feedback, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.